Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another edition of Your Property Show. Thank you for joining me, Hasina Mumtaz, and with me today is Kam Ali, who is the Managing Director of Premier Properties. He also has a number of other companies and is a specialist in accountancy, management and development of properties, as well as in the finance field. I'm Hasina Mumtaz and I'll be hosting the show. My background is in media and communications. I'm a former advisor to the Mayor of London and a journalist and broadcaster. So thank you for joining us this evening. As I've said, this is called Your Property Show, and that implies that this is your show. So what we'd like is for you to call in and ask your questions to Kambai. Today we're going to be talking about right to buy. But if you have any questions relating to property development, investment and management, we're more than happy to take your calls. So please do call in. The number's up on your screen. So if I could just start off, Kambai, and ask about right to buy. Can you tell our viewers, explain what is right to buy?
Well, basically, right to buy was introduced in 1980 by Margaret Thatcher, and it's if you live in a council property, a secure tenant in a house or a council flat, you have a right to purchase that property. There's certain conditions you have to fulfill, and usually you get a big discount. In London at the moment, I think you get £103,900, so it's a huge discount. Does
that depend on the value of the property? It's not a flat rate?
That's right. It depends. It's a percentage, and the maximum is restricted at £103,900. And our community have done very well out of right to buy, acquiring properties in around London and into hamlets and what have you. So that's what it is basically. It's, you get a huge discount to buy your council property.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned local authority, but if people are residents of a housing association, can they also exercise this?
There's a lot of changes happening. It was announced earlier in the year or during the election time that the Tory party would allow this, and it's still going through the process. It should be implemented towards the end of the year. And there's some houses already doing it on a voluntary basis as a pilot scheme. But you have to sort of read up and find out which ones. But there's a few already doing it. So yes, it is coming up, but later on in the year.
Okay. So you mentioned that there's some criteria. I mean, do you have to be a council tenant for a certain period of time before you can do the
Yes,
right to buy?
usually you have to be a secure tenant for at least 3 years. And if you have a break-in tenancy is not a problem as long as you fulfill the 3 years, and that's one of the requirements. And then you have to be sort of not have any rent arrears or not have any possession orders against you for that property. Otherwise, that could delay things, and you have to come out from the possession order or clear your rent arrears. Those things really. Apart from that, no, you're pretty much entitled to, as long as you live there and your name is on the tenancy, it's absolutely fine. You're entitled to the right to buy.
Okay.
There are a few more questions that you need to answer before you can apply for it. See if it's worth your while, if you can afford it, and other things that we'll come on to.
Now, if someone has a joint tenancy, can they still apply for the right to buy? Is it only people with sole tenancies?
No, of course. As far as I'm aware, there's at least maximum of 3 people that can apply. So if it's joint or sole, or you have a child who's also on it, it's absolutely fine. You can apply jointly.
Okay. And how do people know if they're eligible?
You could just basically go into the government website, phone up your local authority and make general inquiries, go and meet your housing officer. But if you've been a tenant for at least 3 years, a council tenant, secure tenant, then usually that should be one of the main criteria. And the other thing is to check that you don't have any possession orders against you, that you're not in rent arrears.
Okay.
That the council is not trying to evict you. And look, it's straightforward. You simply apply. They'll send a surveyor out to assess your property, see what the value is, and then
the council will do that. You don't need to instruct your own surveyor.
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Initially, it'll be the council.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned that several people can buy up to a maximum of 3. Now, if one of the people on there has a bad credit record, how does that then work? Can the others apply and take that person
the
off
council is not concerned whether you have good or bad credit, because they're not lending you the money to buy this. You're getting a discount from them.
Yeah.
So it's latter when you become when you try and get a mortgage or something, then that could cause an issue whether you're able to get a mortgage or not with bad credit. Yeah.
Okay. So you Oh, we've got a caller, actually. So, well done to the first person who's rang through. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Can I have a question? I am a housing association tenant.
Yes.
Do I have right to buy, please?
Yes, we just basically briefly covered that. If you're a housing association tenant, it's happening. It's hopefully later on in the year. It's going through the royal consent and the parliament, if you like. And at the moment, there are a few housing associations that are doing it on a voluntary basis, as like a pilot scheme. And you just have to follow the news, read up on things on the internet. And my estimate is it's going to happen towards the end of the year. Or the housing associations will give you the right to buy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, bye.
Thanks for kicking us off. And so I'll remind our other viewers that obviously we're here today, we're discussing right to buy. But if you have any questions for CamBuy with regard to property investment or financial management, please do call through. So we're talking about right to buy, and one of the things I was wondering is whether, is it the same as with other mortgages? Will they require a deposit to buy?
Yeah, that's one of the good things about right to buy is it's a fantastic financial opportunity for you because you don't have to put in any deposit. The discount that you get acts as a deposit, so the banks are able to lend you a mortgage on the basis that you have this equity already in the property because of the discount. So it's a massive financial incentive to do it. If I can share a story with you, we did a small mortgage for someone on a right to buy, and unfortunately he was about £15,000 short because of his income and what have you, and didn't have any savings. So and he wasn't able to get that money from any of his friends or family. So being a community person, I know that all the ladies have a lot of gold and jewelry. So I said, look, can I suggest something? I know your wife's got gold, but if you're a brave man, why don't you sell, I know someone in Forest Gate, why don't you sell your...
Could you hold that thought for a moment? Because we do want to hear the rest of that story, but in the meantime, we've got a caller. So, hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
আপনাদের রিমর্গেজের ব্যাপারে কোনো হেল্প করা যাবে রিমর্গেজ?
The question আছে আপনার রিমর্গেজ সম্বন্ধে. You can ask me, it's fine. I will try and answer it.
The question zikr kafne?
রিমর্গেজ.
Jo zikr kafne question. অসুবিধা নাই.
না আমার ভাই আছে আমি কিছু পয়সা রিমর্গেজ করতাম স্যার কি করে বা কি করা যায়?
রিমর্গেজ করতে পারবো আপনার তো স্পেসিফিক কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন আছে নি রিমর্গেজ সম্বন্ধে?
না কোশ্চেন এখন আমারও কইলো কি আমার স্পেসিফিক আমার কামের প্রুফ দেখাইতে হবে যে আমি কত টাকা আর্ন করি না করি।
Not following the question. Did you follow the question?
No, he's repeated that he wants to ask a question about remortgaging. Are you still on the line, caller?
Yeah. So if he's referring to right to buy, yes, of course you can remortgage. And sometimes the council do ask, why do you want to raise so much money within the first 5 years, you see. But if you give them a reasonable explanation, they're happy for you to do remortgage and take some money out to refurbish or do whatever you need to do with the property. Yeah. Going back to our little story.
Yes.
Now,
he was going to approach his wife for her.
Yeah, so I suggested this to him, and he said, look, let's see what we can do. So he did come back after a few days. He said, look, fantastic, I've done what you've asked me to do, and we sold and we're going to complete in 2 weeks' time. I said, that it'll be one of the best things you've done because, this is your children's inheritance, you become a property owner, the council's giving you £100,000 discount, who else is going to give? And so, after it completed, every month now he comes in and gives me a box of chocolate for the office because he's so grateful that we gave him that advice. And said, and he's owner of this 3-bedroom house in East Ham. And, there's something for the children to look forward to. He didn't earn a high income, but the fact that he was able to get onto the property ladder, and that is a sense of achievement. So sometimes there are innovative ways. If you are a little bit short, you can always stretch and find ways to buy the property. And I personally know a few friends that have become multimillionaires by initially acquiring their right to buys. We have people in the community that have done that. Unfortunately for me, I've never had a right to buy myself, but I mean, I've helped hundreds of people to acquire right to buy. It makes sense to do it because it's such a major financial incentive to do so. And you know, I always encourage people to grab the opportunity if they're able, if it comes their way, if they're able to afford it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask, that whether right to buy, you know, is a sensible investment. With it being a council property or an ex-council property, do they still hold their value?
Of course, it's an excellent financial move. I mean, I can't comment much outside London, but certainly in London, prices have rocketed because you get a huge discount. So it's a built-in equity already there for you. And what used to happen in the past, the council, local authority surveyors used to tend to undervalue a little bit, saying the tenant possibly have done some improvements in the property, and so they just take those things into consideration. So you have even further equity built into the property because of, you know, you've maintained the property. So yeah, it's probably one of the best financial moves that if you are a council tenant that you can possibly make.
Okay. Because do you then become a leaseholder?
Depends. You do get freehold right to buy, and if it's a block of flats, because somebody has to be a freeholder, and then you become the leaseholder. Yes, usually it's 125-year lease, and it's only about £10 ground rent, but there are other costs involved, service charges. Ground rent is £10, and service charges is for communal cleaning, insurance, block insurance policy, and what have you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it does sound like a very good investment. How easy is it to get a mortgage? I know you mentioned that they're quite keen, mortgage companies are quite keen.
Well, yeah, I mean, most high street lenders do right to buys, or you go and see an independent financial advisor or a mortgage advisor, and they will take you through the process and find you the right lender for you. And there's, like I said, there's always a way around it. That gentleman, you know, if I didn't give him that a bit of encouragement and to sell it, so we will find a way around it. Sometimes you have to change the application where, say, look, it's under the mum and dad's name, there might be a child who's earning good income. We have to bring them on board and sort of ask the council to put their name on the section, want to add people on.
And haven't been on the tenancy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then that way it works, you can get a bigger amount to. What used to happen in the past, in fact, you can actually borrow more than what you're paying the local authority and make improvements to the property or to whatever you want to do with the extra money. But now the lenders are usually restricted to what you're paying the local authority. But it's not that difficult to get a right to buy mortgage at all, no.
Okay, well, we're about to head into a break, so I'll just remind our viewers that you're watching Your Property Show, so please do call in. The number's up on your screen, and Cam, as I say, is very, very knowledgeable in his field, and he's more than happy to advise. I mean, this is the kind of advice you'd have to go and pay someone for, and you're getting it for free, so please don't hesitate to call in. We are talking about right to buy today, but if you have any questions regarding mortgages, finance, investments, properties, then please do call in, because as I say, he's an expert in all of these fields.